This is lesson 3 of module 1, creating your course syllabus. Basically, this is a template for you to use to create your course syllabus. At the very first of this lesson, I will talk about some of the elements that you need to include in your syllabus, and I will just kind of direct you on some resources that will help you to develop your course syllabus. So with that, this is the first page. I have created this one in Google Slides. There is also a template that is created in Google Docs. And just one thing, this is just the table of contents, and it shows all of the things that you should include in your syllabus. Now again, this would have to be tailored to meet the needs of your particular classroom, but these are just some suggestions that would be helpful to give the students right at the beginning of the course so that they know all of the expectations, and it's kind of a one-stop shop for things that they would need. This first slide is an example of a Bitmoji Classroom. You could insert a video here in the Blackboard section that is just a short video about you. And this could be your Meet the Teacher portion of your syllabus. So you can use Screencastify, Screencast-O-Matic, create a short video, and then with Google Slides, one of the reasons why I really like using it so much is because you can embed those videos. So that video can go here and your student can just play it. They don't have to leave Google Slides to watch the video. It auto-plays right here within Google Slides. Also, within this slide presentation in the notes section, there is a link to a tutorial by Jefferson County Public Schools that walks you through the process of creating your Bitmoji and also creating your virtual Bitmoji classroom. And there are also some other links that would be helpful for you whenever you start designing a virtual space, such as a virtual Bitmoji classroom. To reiterate, as far as whenever you are designing your virtual classroom and the elements within your virtual classroom, just remember that relationships are first. And there's a very good article by Catlin Tucker about how important relationship building is within the first week of school. Another resource I would highly suggest is Harry Wong's The First Days of School. It is a terrific book. It was published many years ago. I try my best to read this book, at least parts of it, right before school starts because it really gives you some great tips and some suggestions on how to build those relationships with your students. The next section is your contact information section that would go within your syllabus. The contact information you should include would be, of course, your email, a phone number that you could be reached at, and I'm not saying to include your personal number, but maybe the school phone number or something, or some phone number that you could be reached at. If you use Remind, the information for Remind, the link, and maybe even the link to the app. If you are using Google Meet or whatever platform you are using for virtual meetings, you would insert that link here. And then your school website, you can put your logo, the school logo here, and then the link to the school website. And also any office hours that you have can go down at the bottom. Now I have included on this template a home button, and basically what that home button does is take students back to the table of contents, and then they can go to whatever link that they would need to go to from that page. So next we have topics of study. This could just be what you are going to be studying throughout your course. It would be a good idea to put the topics that you are going to cover based on the structure of your year. Next is supplies, and you would want to list all of the supplies that will be needed for your classroom, and whether that is text, whether that is any technology tools, so like an iPad, a Chromebook, whatever is necessary for that student to be successful in your class. Also, if the student needs to sign up for specific accounts, so maybe you are using BrainPop or you are using Kentucky Virtual Library, any of those things where students would need usernames and passwords, so you could include how they would sign up or how they would log into those particular accounts. Next is a digital toolbox, and the digital toolbox is just a one-stop shop for students to be able to go to one page and find all of the links that they would need for your classroom. And of course, again, this is editable, so anything that you would want to take out, you can just click on it, delete it, and put in an icon and link that icon to go to whatever resource that you would be using within your classroom. Next is the overview and objective objectives of your course. And the overview basically is you just state the course goals and what you want the students to accomplish and take away by the end of the year. That would be your overview. And the objectives is what you want your students to be able to do by the end of the course. And you could have, maybe 1 or 2 objectives, and this should align with your standards as well. The next element of your syllabus is a weekly overview or a weekly schedule. And this is just an example of a weekly schedule that could possibly use at the elementary level. And there are many different templates out there for weekly schedules, especially since we have been doing virtual learning. You should be able to find many different templates. I really like this template because it has lots of color and it looks engaging for students. Also in your syllabus, you want to include some things that would be relevant to not only your classroom, but also to the school as well. With the attendance policy, you can explain how attendance will be taken for the class, how you will address late work, what is the school's attendance policy, if they have any questions about the attendance policy, who they should contact, and their phone number. Next is your grading. The grading should show what your expectations are for the class. Also, I have included just a little Q&A. If students have questions about, for example, if they're absent, what's the expectation, what's the procedure, how should they request access to work, what is the policy for turning in late work, and also how often they should check Google Classroom and their email. At the bottom, you will see a graph for grading percentages. And this is actually a Google Sheets. And the Google Sheet is in the notes on this Google slide. You can actually put in your percentages for your class. This graph will actually create itself. So if at any time you decide to change this, you can just change it on the Google Sheet and it will automatically change here in your syllabus. This is just a very simple template about virtual meeting etiquette. And this one just happens to be titled Google Classroom Etiquette. Again, if you are using a different learning management system such as Schoology or Canvas, you can always edit this and make changes to it. And this is just a great template to be able to go over with students, and so they know what your expectations are and for them to set some good habits. Next is a Google Meet etiquette slide. This is editable, so if you wanted to make changes to it, you could, but it's just something that you really need to have in your syllabus so that students know your expectation and your procedure, and they have something that they can reference. Whenever you are like your first week or 2 of school, you really want to emphasize and focus on your procedures and expectations in the classroom. Okay, so that concludes this video on Module 1, Lesson 3 with creating your course syllabus. And just a few things to think about whenever you are designing your course syllabus is that the course syllabus is the cornerstone of planning. And typically, if you are doing a virtual syllabus or a syllabus for a virtual classroom, your syllabus is going to be longer than the traditional syllabus. It'll cover details that you would explain verbally in your classroom. But it's such a great idea to have it in writing and easily accessible to students. You need to clearly state your expectations and in a firm tone. That way, students understand that these are important. This is what you will expect through every class. Thank you so much for attending and watching this Lesson 3, and I hope you've enjoyed.